Okay, so that was some decent snow in May. Did it help the drought diminish snowpack?
This is definitely no-pack year, right?
All told, trees more than anything took a beating in the storm.
We shed some tears over the tree.
The state of hate in Colorado, not great. New report puts hard numbers to what we've been seeing in incident after incident.
I think we have to stop normalizing hateful rhetoric.
And a first, for our weekly microgiving campaigns, we're collaborating with elementary schoolers who are remembering a classmate who bravely fought cancer. Let's fund pediatric cancer research right here in Colorado, tonight on Next. The biggest May snowstorm in a decade or more came and went in a flash. Now, to see if it was genuinely helpful with our drought. Our Evan Krugel explains why where the snow fell matters just as much as the inches measured.
If you were looking for peace and quiet today, the Aurora Reservoir was the place to be. This guy had the entire reservoir to himself, and while it may not look ideal to most, this weather was exactly what Shawnee Klein was hoping for.
Are you kidding me? I was absolutely thrilled because this probably means that we won't entirely burn to the ground by next week, so that makes me happy.
Shawnee and Aurora Water will take what they can get in a year when snowpack has been a no-pack.
This is definitely no-pack year, right?
Reservoirs in Aurora sit at 57% of where they should be, so all of this snow will certainly help that number, right?
Oh my goodness, no. After this snowstorm is all said and done, we'll still be at 57% of full.
That's because this reservoir relies on mountain runoff. And while some areas in the northern mountains saw huge totals, Aurora Water relies on these three river basins that didn't see as much.
They didn't get a lot of snow up there, and it really isn't going to put much of a dent in terms of the deficit that we're facing this year for runoff.
We really needed about 10 of these this year, and they just didn't happen.
Nathan Elder says Denver Water is in a similar situation, but says there is some good news from the storm.
You know, the next week, 10 days, we really shouldn't see any outdoor irrigation. There's no need for it. It's just wasteful.
Less demand means that we're going to be able to keep more water in our reservoirs, and that will definitely be helpful as we move into the hotter summer months.
So Shawnee says it's okay to be excited as long as people understand this moisture has its limits.
Be excited about the fact that it's snowing, right? But also be practical. This is not going to get us out of the drought that we are in.
Now, northern communities like Loveland and Fort Collins will likely see the biggest benefit from this storm because of those huge totals we saw in the northern mountains. Those will feed the Big Thompson and Poudre rivers. Kyle?
And up there, they were feeling like they were in better shape than the metro area, right?
Right. Fort Collins, one of the few communities that doesn't have mandatory water restrictions in place. They're just voluntary right now. This is kind of like the rich get richer. They're going to get the bulk of this runoff. They are, however, still preaching water conservation, but they're hoping this will allow them to stay on those voluntary restrictions.
I'm going to quote her anytime anybody asks me whether the snow fixed the drought.
Oh my goodness,
oh my goodness, no.
Oh my
All
goodness,
right, Evan Krugel, thank you. For more on that, we asked meteorologist Chris Bianchi to really break down how the late addition to the snowpack impacts our current situation.
I'd say this is probably the biggest question I'm getting right now is, did this make a dent in our drought? The quick answer is yes. This is not a drought buster, but this certainly helping on out. I'm going to give you a bit of context and show you what the amount of water that we saw and what kind of difference it could make for us. First of all, Fort Collins, 1.56 inches of rain from Monday afternoon through this morning. Snow. That, to put in perspective, coming into this storm system, Fort Collins year-to-date had 1.27 inches of total combined year-to-date rain and snow equivalent. Picked up more than that from this storm alone. DIA, Denver, about an inch or so of liquid. Same in Centennial, Boulder. General idea about an inch, a bit more in that northern Colorado. In Denver specifically, at the airport, had 1.6 inches of total precipitation heading into the storm. This storm picking up about 9/10 of an inch of precipitation, so getting a meaningful amount of water that will certainly help out with those drought conditions here along the Front Range, but also in the mountains. We are no longer in last place in terms of our year-to-date, season-to-date snowpack here in the mountains. We may, because of the snowstorm, avoid our earliest melt off on record with a pretty big boost, especially for the South Platte, North Platte, and the Colorado River basins out of this storm. So a certainly notable snow for us here in the high country. Final thing is, this will come out tomorrow. This will be updated as a drought monitor. 100% of the state of Colorado is in drought. This is not going to change notably this week. It will change next week because the drought monitor runs through the previous Tuesday morning. So again, it's released every Thursday, but this runs through Tuesday morning in terms of what you're actually seeing on the map. So just point being, wait a week, and then you'll see some big differences on the drought monitor as well.
On the ground, the most significant damage from the storm was broken branches, and also had tens of thousands of Coloradans lose power as well. About 60,000 XL customers were without power just before 9 this morning. A lot of the outages happened when trees came down on lines. Neighborhoods on the west side of the metro, like Arvada, were some of the hardest hit. Tree removal companies we saw were certainly staying busy.
Came outside just to kind of see how much snow we were getting, and we noticed that the tree had already broken and was like leaning against the fence. But it was dark and there wasn't anything we could do, so we came out this morning to assess the damage.
Several cities in the metro area have drop-off sites for tree cleanup if you need that, and we have the specific details on 9news.com. The anti-Semitic firebombing attack in Boulder last year is one of thousands of acts of hate recorded across America. Our Mark Salinger walks us through a new report that puts Colorado's hate crimes into perspective.
June 1st of 2025 in Boulder was a terrible day.
When you're targeted by hate like that, you feel really alone.
More than a dozen people were physically injured when a man with Molotov cocktails targeted a group supporting the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. The anti-Semitic terror attack on Pearl Street killed an 82-year-old woman.
It shook my feeling of personal safety, and I think it did for the whole community. So the ripple effects of that are still incredibly real.
Susan Rona is the regional director of the Anti-Defamation League. Today, the ADL released its annual report of anti-Semitic incidents across the country. Colorado is 10th among states for reports of anti-Jewish hate. While the total number of incidents in the state fell 40% from the record high in 2024, the 167 reported incidents of anti-Semitic assault, violence, and harassment in Colorado in 2025 is the third highest on record.
The problem of anti-Semitism in Colorado is not solved, and we still need the community to show up and say it's not okay.
There were 7 incidents of assaults here, 82 of reported vandalism, and 78 of harassment, 167 in total. Everything from people throwing rocks through the door of a synagogue to someone writing Jew on the outside of a student's dorm at CU Boulder.
To say 167 can sound big or small to some people, but behind every one of them is a family who now has to deal with the repercussions of that and their feelings of personal safety.
The number of incidents in the state went down, but in a community like Boulder and everywhere else, one is one too many.
I think it shakes your feeling of personal safety.
The suspect in the Boulder terror attack is expected to plead guilty to state charges this week. He's also charged with 9 hate crimes on the federal level. That federal trial is set for July.
All right, Mark Salinger reporting. Thank you, Mark. Let's take a moment and do some good in Colorado. Your weekly microgiving has raised $18 million over 6 years, and this week, a first. We're going to collaborate with some elementary school students who are working on a series of projects in memory of a classmate who died of cancer. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the Morgan Adams Foundation, which funds pediatric cancer research right here in Colorado. Students at Swigert Elementary School in Denver have raised money for the Morgan Adams Foundation's pediatric cancer research for years. This week, they're also building a butterfly memorial garden in memory of Pippa, a second grader who passed away after battling neuroblastoma. As part of their annual service day, Swigert students will also be writing notes to kids in the hospital getting treatment. I told them that this year we would help out with the fundraising aspect of it. The Morgan Adams Foundation funds some of the most promising pediatric cancer treatments that are being developed by physician scientists here in Colorado to help kids here in Colorado. The nonprofit specializes in seed funding to turn doctors' ideas into real treatments and in bridge grants to help keep promising research alive when it loses other funding. Pediatric cancer research is a small share of American cancer research, and the treatments then lag behind the options for adult cancers. The Morgan Adams Foundation is making a significant difference with that, and we can help. I'm going to join those Swigert kids on Friday for their service day. I can't wait to tell them what you are doing for the Morgan Adams Foundation and for kids like their friend Pippa. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. We'll send you that link to donate. You know, even $5 helps. You also know I'm never going to ask you to give to a cause I don't support myself, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us going. 7,500 of you sign up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info one time, pick a monthly amount, your donations automatically split among all the nonprofits we feature. And in the month of May, 4 weekly campaigns, we expect that to mean that we will start with almost $50,000 of your giving. The Trump administration went after Denver for gun laws yesterday, went after all of Colorado today.
Red Rocks has always been my dream. I've always wanted to go there. It's a bucket list place.
Yeah, buckets full of snow, list is soggy. It's the danger of having an outdoor dream in Colorado in springtime. That's next. The Justice Department is suing Colorado over its state law banning high-capacity magazines as the Trump administration tries to take down gun control policies across the country. The Fed sued Denver yesterday over the law from 1989 banning so-called assault weapons. The Justice Department argues that that law violates the Second Amendment. Then there's the state law passed in 2013 following the Aurora movie theater shooting. The DOJ says the statewide ban on magazines that hold more than 15 rounds effectively outlaws standard magazines used in many popular guns. The Colorado Supreme Court had unanimously upheld that law in 2020. State and local leaders are both defying the demands to stop enforcing the laws and plan to fight the lawsuits in court. Democrats in Congress are throwing their money behind an effort to redraw Colorado's congressional maps in favor of Democrats. It's kind of a no-nonsense investment for them since the new maps would favor Democrats in 7 of Colorado's 8 congressional districts. Props to the Colorado Sun for being the first to notice this donation. Campaign finance records released Monday show House Majority Forward has donated $150,000 to this redistricting effort. House Majority Forward is a dark money group affiliated with a federal super PAC controlled by Democratic House leadership. Their donations more than half the $250,000 that ballot issue has collected so far. If the Democrats' gerrymander makes the ballot in November, redistricting initiative would temporarily dismantle the state's independent redistricting process in favor of a new map that would favor Democrats in 2028 and 2030. Under this proposal, we would go from what is currently a 4-4 Democrat and Republican map to there being only one safe Republican seat in the state. That's the one currently held by Lauren Boebert.
Winter in spring. This is a beautiful view of our Horsetooth Reservoir camera. These May storms are unbelievable. They're here today, gone tomorrow, but bringing that beneficial moisture and water to the state that we need. Temperatures today were chilly in the mid-30s along the Front Range. Many areas will see these numbers double tomorrow and hence the snow melt. Outside with clearing skies and drier air working in from north to south. Good radiational cooling tonight. We're going to see temperatures drop like a rock after sunset. Today, 5.8 inches officially in Denver out at DIA, marking this as the biggest May snowstorm since 2003. Anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow from Denver to Parker, out to Broomfield, Erie, and up into Evergreen. But really, one of the more impressive numbers we've been talking about all day, 28 inches of snow in Estes Park. 1 to 2 feet across the Front Range foothills and mountains. Wonderful water. This whole storm now is moving out. The winter storm warning for Denver and the mountains has canceled out. And now with these clearing skies, it's going to get cold, but not for everybody. Some areas along the foothills will have a bit of a downsloping component, so those temperatures will stay in the upper 20s and lower 30s. Doesn't matter. We have a freeze warning out for Denver and eastern Colorado. Protect the pipes and the plants and just to be on the safe side. Temperatures stay in the 30s for the next few hours, and we have a nice warming trend for the next couple of days, getting us into Mother's Day weekend with sunshine and 72, and then we really turn up the heat. Mid-80s for the first part of next week.
As you can see, we're trying to pave a path, and it takes a little bit because there's so much snow.
Right, there's 2 ways you can handle a snow day. You can complain about the inconvenience, and it certainly was to some, or you can just get out there and make the best of it. Hey, a reminder, you can catch Next streaming each night, 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus, and Next is a podcast each weeknight, wherever you get those. Bright Eyes fans are in a tough spot. Tonight's show at Red Rocks has been postponed till next week. They might have had some hope because last night's headliner, David Guetta, still went on while it was actively snowing, and it won't be snowing tonight. Red Rock said they made the decision to postpone tonight's show with the promoters and the artist. And they said it's rare to be able to do what they're doing, which is to reschedule a show rather than canceling it outright. We talked with a fan from South Carolina who's planning to fly in with her sister for the Bright Eyes show, said they can't make that new date work.
We were both devastated, started looking at, okay, how can we make this work? We both really want to go, looking at changing flights, etc. But unfortunately, in the end, it would have cost me over double what I paid for my flight. And I can't just change my schedule instantly and say, hey, I want to be off next week instead of right now and get those 3 days off.
And to make things worse, Denise says she's not going to be able to get a refund on the tickets either because they were resale. Lots of kids, mine included, were home from school today with parents juggling work schedules best they could on the short notice. Denver Public Schools actually made the call before 7 p.m. last night. That was kind of surprising. They didn't wait till this morning to do it. They called it last night. DPS told us they take several factors into consideration, including whether they think the roads will be safe, do they think staff can get sidewalks and parking lots clear, will it be safe for students to walk to school. We certainly heard from frustrated parents who had to go and get last-minute childcare for today. DPS said at the end of the day, they would rather be safe than sorry. We also ran into families that were taking advantage of the snow day and happy to do it, like a family busting out the slides in Ken Carroll this morning where there was more than a foot of snow.
I think it's great. I wish we would have got it on the ski slopes earlier in the season, but yeah, now we're getting it, so that's what counts, I guess. I think we're gonna go get some hot cocoa after this, so yeah, definitely. It should be a good time.
It's a good day. That's a day to remember. As you might imagine, we found libraries and the Children's Museum also packed today. We're back with your feedback. Speed's got it. That's next. Thank you. I talked recently with the folks at the Morgan Adams Foundation. You might know them. They're a big name in funding pediatric cancer research, and they're based right here in Colorado. And they were telling me that AI is helping physician scientists race toward better treatments faster. That nonprofit delivers funding to help promising ideas and research. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to join me and a bunch of others in supporting the work of the Morgan Adams Foundation. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign is in collaboration with the students at Swigert Elementary in Denver. They have supported the Morgan Adams Foundation through their Service Day event for years. They're doing it this year in memory of their classmate Pippa, who had neuroblastoma. They're going to be building a butterfly garden for her on Friday. I will be joining those kids for their service project, and I look forward to telling them what all of you have done for the Morgan Adams Foundation and kids in our community. Michael writes in, "Holy smokes, Batman, that sport coat is hideous." Via text, "That has to be the ugliest jacket I have ever seen. Can you take it off? I'm trying to eat dinner." John Williamson writes, "I want that blazer. Where can I get one?" John, other folks want me to give you this one.